And welcome into the fifth episode of Diving for Penalties here on WIAT 42 News Online. I'm your host, as always, Nic Gulas. You can follow me along on Twitter at Nic_Gulas. And you can also follow the show on Twitter at yellow4dive. And then you'll get updates for the latest episodes and what we're going to talk about each week. And this week, still more men's national team discussions. And joining me this week is of Soccer Mornings, a Soccer Morning radio show, and also a part-time blogger for ESPN, Jason Davis. Jason, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and thanks for joining us, and enjoyed the show this morning. So we'll just kind of start with the men's national team. This roster, with everybody now finally at Stanford, it took almost a full week to get everybody there, but now that everybody's there and we're a week in, what do you get as the feeling from out there right now?
It's hard to say. I mean, we are getting a little bit more access than we're used to. We obviously have quality reporters on the scene to give us a little taste of how players are thinking, what the thought process are. U.S. Soccer's doing hangouts. We've got the documentary 30 for 30 that ESPN is doing, the 5-part, 6-part series, whatever that is. So we have a little bit of insight. I still don't think we know anything, though. I mean, the fact that Jurgen Klinsmann called in a 30-man roster really doesn't bother me. I'm okay with competition. But at the same time, we always, as American fans, worry about the team and the unit and the camaraderie and the sum being more than the parts. It's one of those things that makes the U.S. men's national team the U.S. men's national team is the sense of togetherness that we think pushes us to be better than we really are. And maybe Klinsmann doesn't care about that. Maybe he thinks that's a crutch, or maybe he, in his mind, going through the gauntlet of this training period and this camp will bring these guys together. So at this point, I don't think I can make any conclusions. Feel good, feel bad, I don't know, because I don't know who's going to go to Brazil yet. And we have the same questions we had months ago, and when it comes to the back line and who's going to play there, and is Omar Gonzalez good enough? Who's your right back? Who's your left back? All of these things are still up in the air.
And speaking of Omar Gonzalez, he's one that I think is just an interesting case for this team, just based on the fact that of those that you would consider the probable starters or have had a lot of starting experience, is injured and is questionable to even be fit enough. The Galaxy say he is, and so that's what everybody's been disseminating in the press, but I'm still up in the air on him.
You know, there was a sense, if you watched the 30 for 30 show last night, there was a sense that it was more serious than maybe we were led to believe. I mean, in the aftermath of the initial injury, which he picked up against the Rapids, Bruce Arena said, oh, it's temporary, it's no big deal, he'll be fine. I actually think that maybe they overplayed it a bit. I don't know if it was editing. I don't know if it was the words that Omar used. I think he'll be okay. I mean, he's going to miss out on some of what seems to be right now conditioning that they're going through, and maybe that hurts them in the end, but I don't know that this injury is really going to be a major issue for the team moving forward, although, again, because of the uncertainty in the back line and because of the questions people have about Omar Gonzalez, maybe you wonder if this will push him to the side and we could see Jeff Cameron step into his place.
And I think of any position on this roster right now, the back line is probably the worst to be coming in with an injury because it's so wide open. And it's your chances right there to grab it, and it's just the hair of a difference that could have you on the plane or have you back home playing with the Galaxy.
At the same time, I can't see a scenario where Omar Gonzalez doesn't go to Brazil. He still remains one of the 3-4 best center backs the United States has. I mean, if we wanted to rank them, and I'm not saying that this indicates any confidence we have in these guys, but it probably goes Beasler, Cameron, if you want to be that person, Gonzalez, and then Goodson, and I think they probably all go. So it's not really an issue of that. It could end up having an impact on his starting position, but then we have the 2 games before the roster is cut down and the third send-off series game after the fact that will give us an indication of what Jurgen Klinsmann is thinking.
And staying with the Galaxy, Landon Donovan is just become the most curious case on this team, I believe, because everybody assumes that he's going. Jurgen's, of course, playing in the media. No spot is guaranteed. But I think everybody can come to a conclusion that you've got your Clint Dempsey and your Michael Bradley are your over-the-moon locks. And a lot of people want to say that Landon Donovan is, but there's also that uneasiness that that might not be the case.
There's some interesting mental gymnastics going on for fans now when it comes to Landon Donovan, and I'm going through it myself. I've long been a Donovan fan. I've never really been one to criticize him for his career decisions. I always felt like players should make whatever decision is best for them. It goes from Michael Bradley coming to MLS and to Clint Dempsey and everybody else. But we still have an element of sort of this emo Landon Donovan, and this is not new. We're just getting it now at a point where his declining skills, because whether he's one of the Americans' best 11 players or not, his skills are clearly declining as he ages, kind of coming in contact with his attitude, which isn't a negative necessarily, but doesn't indicate the attitude of a guy who's just going to go all out, put it on the line. He constantly says things, and I had Grant Wall tell me this morning, sometimes he's too honest. Sometimes he says things he shouldn't or that coaches don't like, and perhaps there's no coach he's come in contact with that cares more about those things and the perceptions of those things than Jurgen Klinsmann.
And I tend to agree with that, because I think you saw that with his sabbatical, the way that he was treated and how that, as much as Jurgen didn't want it to, it did play out in the media. And that's where that entire circus took place. And then, of course, everybody overreacting to him being left off this roster or, being a part of this camp. And I think that's led us to this point to where we question whether or not he makes this squad, even though more than likely we probably shouldn't question that.
Well, again, I mean, there's enough uncertainty, and because Klinsmann has created so much guessing, because we really do. The problem is that we believe Jurgen Klinsmann is capable of leaving Landon Donovan off the team, even if we don't agree with it. I certainly don't. If it's my team, he's going. He's probably starting for my team. But because Jurgen Klinsmann has a mandate that goes beyond just win a couple of games in Brazil or just get out of your group, and he has this notion of changing mindsets and changing the culture of the national team and American soccer as a whole, it's almost like he's taken the opportunity to use Landon Donovan as an example. And again, will he leave him off the team? I don't think so in the end, because I think that actually causes more problems and more controversy for him. But he does seem to be considering it, which is mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm. And as far as changing the culture, there was this youth movement that came in with this 30-man roster with John Brooks and DeAndre Yedlin and Julian Green, three guys that are all, relatively new, relatively all Klinsmann guys. Do you see all three of them going to Brazil? Do you see any of them going to Brazil?
I don't think, the Julian Green thing, again, because Jurgen Klinsmann has created an environment of uncertainty, I feel like he's going. I just have this gut instinct that Julian Green's going to go to the World Cup, and that Jurgen Klinsmann will couch it in an explanation that he's a very talented young player who can make a difference, and maybe that's true. We won't know. I don't know that he really should be going. That's a different question. And again, we get into those issues of, well, how much does chemistry matter, and does it bother anybody that Julian Green is essentially being handed a spot because he decided to declare for the United States at the last minute? How much does everything that led up to the World Cup actually matter when you put your World Cup team together? We always have a couple of surprises, but regardless of whether they're surprises, we feel like those guys are coming for legitimate reasons, and it's not just a quid pro quo, and that seems to be the case for Julian Green. I don't think John Brooks is going. I think he's one for the future. I think it's good to get him the experience, but he is clearly not quite ready for this stage, and I don't think you take a guy that you might not be willing to use when the push comes to shove.
And so what about Yedlin in that back line? Is he kind of a toss-up as well, just like all the other guys that are part of that back line right now?
Yedlin's an interesting case only because of the right back position being completely unsettled, and because Klinsmann has, again, sent us another message. I'm going to call in Brad Evans and Timmy Chandler and DeAndre Yedlin, and I have Michael Parkhurst here, and we have Jeff Cameron who plays right back at the Premier League level, and any one of those guys could be his guy. Yedlin's issue, the perception is that DeAndre Yedlin is a bad defender. I don't think he's a bad defender. I don't think he's a good defender. There's a lot of room between bad and good, and you don't quite know what you'll get if he ends up on the field. You do know that he'll be fast. You do know that he can keep pace with some of these players that you're going to see in this group, and I think that's the X factor in the equation. I wouldn't be shocked if DeAndre Yedlin went to Brazil. I don't think I'd be shocked. I'd be mildly surprised. I think experience, even if it's not World Cup experience, matters on some level, and he doesn't have much. But, there's just so many questions there. You can look at each one of these players and find a reason that they should get a shot. Timmy Chandler's the best natural right back. Jeff Cameron's playing at the highest level, or alongside Chandler playing at the highest level and doing it consistently. DeAndre Yedlin has the most natural ability. I don't know. I really don't know. I wish I had an answer.
And I think that's part of what makes this fun with this group, is that there's just so many unknowns. And looking forward now, 5 days from now, the Azerbaijan friendly, what do you think Klinsmann does with that friendly? Do you think he goes for the guys that are up in the air, or does he goes with some certainty in that match? What do you think his game plan is for that first match?
I don't know what Jurgen Klinsmann will do, because I don't know how to read Jurgen Klinsmann, but I do think he should put out what he believes will be his starting 11 against Ghana and Brazil. I think that's what he should do. You got 3 games. You might as well use them to the best advantage and get some cohesive play happening before you end up getting on the plane and going down there. I know that he'll make changes at the 60th minute, because that's what he does. He's not going to bring in a bunch of guys at halftime. It's just not his MO. And I think we're going to see some bubble guys get some significant playing time, but it might only be half an hour. I would rather see him put out an 11 that he thinks is his best team. Maybe not in the exact configuration he'll play them against Ghana, but again, I do think it's important, especially with some of the unknowns, right back, left side of midfield, who is going to be there, your striker situation. Are you going to play 2? Are you going to play a lone striker with Josie Altidore? I think he needs to use the opportunity to get the 11 guys he sees starting, at least in that first game, as much time as possible leading up to it.
So basically, you don't know. Just like everybody else, we're just up in the air. We're just so anxious. We just want to see something. We want something from this group. I feel like that's what's driving a lot of the suspense for this World Cup is, and I think it was built up even more when we got this 30-man preliminary roster, that we want something. We want something concrete, solid, that we can say, okay, we can get behind this.
Because we're afraid, Nick. That's the bottom line. We look at this lineup of games and we go, okay, even the weakest team in the group, and that's Ghana, is still a really tough out, and they've had our number for the last 2 World Cups, and there's going to be so much emotion in that game, especially for guys like Dempsey and Altidore and Donovan if he's on the field, and guys who were in that, Michael Bradley, who were there in 2010, who witnessed 2006. For that game, so much will be put into it. And again, I think if you're going to have to deal with that element of it, just seeing Asamoah Gyan give you flashbacks, then you need to have the team as calm as possible. And if that's a goal, then get them time. But because of Jurgen Klinsmann's attitude, is again, I'm fine with competition, and I think he is doing us a favor by sort of breaking our conventional thought process when it comes to World Cup. Do you need a solid 11 that you've known for a year, or can you put together these guys? And he's reached deep into the pool to find talent. Can you throw them together in the relative last minute and be successful? I mean, it's going to be a criticism of him if they fail. People will say, well, you didn't give these guys enough time to bring it all together and to understand each other before you went down there. And he'll say, I did what I could with the talent that was available to me. It's 6 in one and half dozen in the other. I mean, who's to say who's right, no matter what the results are?
Yeah. And the idea, and if that does happen, I believe he has an easy out by saying that he's building towards Russia 2018. I believe I think that's partly seen in this preliminary roster, and I think it's also something that, should things go terribly wrong in Brazil, that's I mean, you don't want to say excuse, but it doesn't really come across as one, because it could be legitimate. It could be a legitimate reason.
He has a couple of things that are working in his favor. One is the strength of the group. I mean, no matter what happens for the United States, short of 5-0 drubbings across all 3 games, he can say, well, it was really tough. We did our best. We had some good things happen. So and so played well. et cetera, and again, look towards the future. This is a transitional World Cup. I mean, there's no doubt about that. It's still the deepest American team that will ever go to World Cup, and no matter what happens, we'll be able to take some positives out of it. That's going to be weak for fans who live and die with how they play and the results that they get. And I think the mainstream media is going to be pretty critical of a team that doesn't get out of the group, no matter who they played, which is unfair, but sort of the reality. So I think you're right. Jurgen Klinsmann is looking towards 2018. He's looking towards a future. He's trying to build, quote unquote, build something. It's going to be really tough to judge him on this World Cup. I guess we'll have opportunities though. Post World Cup, we have Gold Cup, obviously World Cup qualifying. It will eventually come up again for Russia. We have a Copa America coming to this country. There are going to be the Olympics will be a very strong team for the United States. All of those will be opportunities for Jurgen Klinsmann to prove that no matter what happens in 2014, he has the right ideas for the future.
And I think that there's enough trust among the level-headed U.S. men's national team fans to believe in him for that process and make it feel like that this is something that's, it's great for us to go to Brazil right now. It sucks that this is a transitional year for the guys like Howard, Donovan, and Dempsey, for their last World Cup, more than likely, to be a transitional one in such a tough group and then have to end their careers like this. But it's all about the future. And I think ever since Klinsmann was brought in, that's been something that U.S. soccer has been trying to get across to everybody.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how fans respond to how they play. And I don't necessarily mean winning or losing or how that goes over 90 minutes. I mean how Jurgen Klinsmann puts them out there and what he asks them to do. He's been advocating attacking high-pressure soccer. It's been a long road to get to a point where we feel like they're actually playing it. For a while, he was saying things that weren't showing up on the field. But we've had a tradition for the United States, and this is true of a lot of countries who don't have the talent to compete with the best countries in the world, of being a defensively solid counterattacking team. If that's the best option for the U.S. to get points out of this group and advance, and they don't do it, and they go and they try to play with Ghana and Portugal and Germany, and they get beaten because they're playing a high line or they're pressuring the ball, I'm going to be interested to see how the fans react to that, because soccer is so interesting in that regard, and obviously with Klinsmann and his project, it's not always just about winning. You can sort of pull out some positives just from the way you play, but we want to win too. And again, the bigger picture is the future of the sport and the popularity of the sport, and if you don't win games, it's going to be tough to get the attention of people who don't understand. Well, we lost, but we lost playing soccer.
And I think that will be something, like you mentioned, going forward. It'll be interesting come, late July, what everybody's opinions are. As far as trying to get stuff out of this camp right now, maybe we'll get something this afternoon in the Google Hangouts. Who knows? Somebody might let something slip. We can it'll be live internet. We can all hope for the best on that.
Yeah, I don't know how those guys feel about these things. I watched one with Yedlin and Beckerman yesterday. And it just, it's awkward. It's not the best situation. These guys are busting in the heat in California, and then they got to get on and sit in front of a camera and answer questions like, what's the best advice you've gotten? And it's, their mind can't possibly be on that stuff, but good on them for doing it.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's just another connection to the players. But now switching gears to basically the only thing that's going on in international club soccer. The Champions League final is this weekend. Got basically the Iberian Peninsula just all abuzz, the focus of the soccer world right now, with both Madrid teams going to Lisbon. And everybody has been focused on Diego Costa the past couple of days. Reports today say that he will train with the team and will be good to go for Saturday after his horse placenta treatment on Wednesday. And I don't know if I trust it this much. I think they're very very positive about his prospects just coming one day off of this.
I think he desperately wants to play. I mean, you saw how he reacted when he had to come off against Barcelona. It was just distraught because of this game. I don't think he thought it was a World Cup impacting injury, but certainly because of this Champions League final and everything it means to Atletico Madrid. For me, I'm almost 100% positive the placenta thing is a placebo effect. If he actually does feel good, fine. I suppose you go out all guns blazing. It's the last game of the year. If Diego Costa passes a pregame fitness test, and we still have that to get through. I mean, whether he's training or not doesn't actually indicate whether he'll play. I imagine Simeone will make him pass a fitness test before the game. But if he's on the field and he plays half an hour and he blows it out again, is that worth it? I mean, or will you say if you leave him on the bench and you lose 1-0, will you say, hey, if we had Diego Costa in this game, even for half an hour, maybe the result would be different?
Is he that big of a difference in this game? Is he the
100% difference
for Atletico?
Yeah, he's huge for Atletico Madrid. Again, talking about the equation of pretty soccer or attacking soccer versus sitting back and trying to get a win by accentuating your defensive strengths. I mean, Atletico Madrid is a team built on the notion of we are going to stop you from doing what you want to do. It's not that they don't want the ball, but they are fine not having the ball. This is the Jose Mourinho school of winning in Europe, and Simeone has done an amazing job with this team with half the payroll of the teams he's going up against. But Costa is that release valve. He's the guy that he keeps defenses honest. He keeps back lines and center backs from pushing up. If you're playing a team like Real Madrid that is so fast, I mean, this is the interesting part of this. And Real Madrid beat Atletico Madrid, I think 5-0 over 2 legs in the Copa del Rey. So there's a history of Real Madrid knowing how to do this. You have a team that is capable of out Atletico Madriding Atletico Madrid, if you know what I mean, and also playing with the ball on the ground and also breaking down their defense. So there's a lot of elements at play, but again, Costa is so key because he is the most dangerous player on the field for Atletico Madrid. And every time, and you know that when you have a center forward who is capable of making his own goal, that is a key for any team that wants to sit back, absorb pressure, and get moving up the field on the break.
What does this game look like without him? Is it a game? I mean, we just talked about that 5-0 drubbing in Copa del Rey. Is this a game without him?
It's a game. Atletico Madrid is too disciplined, and they've been too successful. They have too much belief in themselves to just fall over in the face of Real Madrid in this final. I think it will still be fairly tense and tight. I'm guessing that we're going to see a couple of moments of absolute brilliance, whether it's from Ronaldo or Bale or Di Maria on that side, or perhaps Costa or Koke on the other side. These are guys who can create their own goals, as I said. So it's going to be tight. I don't think Atletico Madrid is going to want to make it pretty. I don't think that they can afford to do that. So you may see Real Madrid get frustrated. But then again, we've seen Real Madrid adjust throughout this tournament. What they did against Bayern Munich was a masterclass. I think they're the favorites to win. We may end up with a sort of, we're kind of bored with this, and then we get a couple of moments and it saves it, and we can celebrate whoever wins this game.
I think that's the way with most Champions League finals. There's the feeling of there's that tense first half hour, a little bit of boredom in there, and then somebody breaks it. I mean, there's always going to be that one person that just makes all break loose all of a sudden in these games.
Finals are too often about not losing before they are about winning. You want to come out and not lose it in the first half hour, as you said, and it's going to be tense. I want to see Real Madrid absolutely go for it in the first half hour. If they can blitz Atletico Madrid, put them down a goal or two in the first half, that could completely change the complexion of the game, and we could see Atletico Madrid actually have to go for it and give us a little bit more entertainment, even if ultimately I don't think they have the firepower to come back from that kind of deficit.
And so, I mean, all eyes in the soccer world will be on that game. MLS doesn't even start till 8 o'clock that night, giving them plenty of time to do whatever they need to do.
Yeah, and you get Gus Johnson on the call and Eric Ronaldo alongside him, so we're looking forward to that.
Yes, it'll be a lot of fun. And Jason, want to thank you for joining us here. Tell the people how they can find your work and get in touch with you and all that fun stuff.
Let's do Twitter. Everybody talks about Twitter. DavisJSN is my Twitter handle. You can follow me there. Soccer Morning is the daily show. It's from 10 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time every day at NASN.TV. It's also available on YouTube, youtube.com/NASNTV. So pretty easy to find. Thanks very much for having me, Nick. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, and of course, everybody go follow him. Obviously, you've heard the vast array of knowledge that he brought to the table here today, and so you'll get plenty of that every day from him on Soccer Morning.
And
So
quality guests too. It's mostly about the guests. We have excellent people come on and tell me things I don't know, which I love.
you've managed to do the same thing here, so that's
Appreciate
the
that.
goal here.
I appreciate that, Nick. Thanks a lot.
So thanks everybody for tuning in here. Of course, you can always follow the show at Yellow4Dive, Yellow the number 4Dive, and always you can follow me at Nic_Gulas. Thanks again for tuning in to episode 5 of Diving for Penalties.